Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about the tension secret that makes her chase you. So today I'm going to be talking all about how to build anticipation and tension so that she becomes more attracted to you, so that she begins to start pursuing you more. So what you really need to do is actually you have to do just like really minimal steps. So when you start dating a woman, there's not actually too much that you need to do. You just need to invite her out on a date and do that like once a week. And eventually, when she realizes that she only sees you once a week, or maybe it's once every 2 weeks, then she realizes that she needs to actually do more if she wants to see you. So what she does is she starts reaching out to you more. Okay, the magical cat. It means that if you see the magical cat, it means that you're going to get pussy very soon. So the way that you do this then is you ask her out, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to keep texting to a minimum. You don't want to be texting all the time. You want to be using the phone, as Corey Wayne says, as to just set up appointments, set up dates. And you can use this for everything. It doesn't just have to be for dates, okay? You can use this with like arranging with your friends, arranging things to do with your family. Try and just use your phone for just doing those kinds of things. Now, of course, it's okay to send a few messages back and forth. Because when I started dating my wife, when we matched on Tinder, we obviously did a few like little exchanges. For example, we was talking about our surnames because that was one of the things that kind of got brought up. We was talking about our names because she had a name called her name is Rosanna, and I thought that was a really unique name. I'd never really heard of that name that much. I've heard of like Rose or like Roxanne and things like that, but not things like Rosanna. It's not a very popular name. Anyway, that was one of the first things that we sort of like started talking about, like just one of those like sort of little quick conversations that you have. And then I asked for her Facebook information, and when I asked for her Facebook information, she gave it to me. Then I added her on Facebook, and then I had a quick look at her profile to make sure she wasn't a catfish. Once I realised that she was a real person, because other people had tagged her and stuff, and there was lots of like sort of evidence of that kind of thing, we started chatting more, just a little bit, and I arranged a date with her, and that all happened in the space of like one evening, from matching on Tinder to having a date set up, right? So that's how kind of quick you want to kind of move things. Now, I know that's not always the case, because you may match with someone and send them a message, and she may not get back to you until like the next day. So it may not be able to happen that way, or maybe when you start messaging her, it takes her a while to respond. But all in all, you want to get on with it, right? You want to get things going, because romance really does happen in person. I mean, you can have great chats with people online, but what you got to realize about chatting online is that people can hide who they are behind a smartphone and a keyboard. You can craft a message, right, and make it perfect and make you come across, or she can do the same thing to make you guys come across in the best light. But it's very difficult to do that when you're in person, you see. So when you're in person, you actually get to find out who this person is. And as human beings, we are designed to get to know people in person. Things like texting, WhatsApp, emailing, even letter writing has only been around for, well, it's not been around long enough, okay? Than we have. Like, we've been around and evolving for hundreds of thousands of years, okay? And most of our interactions throughout our whole evolution has been through in-person interactions, not texting or even letter writing, which has been around for a couple of hundred years now, a few hundred years. So that's how we get to know people. So the way that you build anticipation then is to just meet her out once a week or once every 2 weeks, and to not message her that much, and to build the anticipation to see each other in person. And her anticipation is going to be building, and also your anticipation is going to be building as well. So Another thing that you may want to do is if you start to date a woman and you see that she's starting to lose a bit of interest in you, perhaps she's not replying as much, perhaps she doesn't want to see you as much, what you got to do is you just got to back off and maybe like, okay, so we were seeing each other once a week and then maybe you went to seeing each other like twice a week. Then what you want to do is you want to scale back. So maybe you only see her once every 2 weeks, and you don't text her as often as you once were. So basically, if you want a woman to chase you and to build more anticipation, then sometimes you got to look at your phone and see who is writing the most messages, who's initiating the conversation more, who's writing the longer messages. And if that's you, then you need to do way less. You need to scale back and do either the same that she is, or you need to do less than what she is. Okay? So another way that you can build this anticipation is to build tension, right? Is when you are out in person with a woman and you're talking to her, be mysterious, right? Don't be volunteering tons and tons of information about yourself. Let her pry it out of you. Okay? Now this doesn't mean that when she asks you a question you don't answer it or anything like that. Of course answer the question, but don't dive too deep. Let her be the one to like be curious, because that's how you'll find out basically if a woman really likes you. So let's say, for example, you're out on a date and you ask her, oh, so, tell me about your family, like, tell me about your parents and your siblings and stuff. And she's like, oh, yeah. She goes into it and she's like, oh, yeah, my mum does this for a living, my dad does this. I've got a little sister, I've got an older brother. And then she's like, they do this and they do that. And then she's like, so what about you? And you're like, yeah, I'm good. I've got a good relationship with my family. They're great. And that's all you say. And then you turn the conversation back over to her. You're like, oh yeah, your dad sounds like he's got an interesting job. So what's all that about? How did he get that job? How long has he been working there? That sounds really cool. So you just sort of giving them something, but you're not diving into it. Let her dive into her life. And if she likes you and if she's interested in you, she'll start to want more information. So she'll be like, oh yeah, well my dad's been, he's been doing this for a while, and he's been doing it ever since he's been doing it for like 30 years, and she's like talking about that kind of stuff. And then she's like, so what about what your family? What do your parents do for a living? Right, because she can see that you're not, saying as much as what she is. So if she likes you, she'll pry more. Okay, so that shows interest, and that shows that what you're doing is working, because she's sort of like, hang on a minute. What about more about you, please? I want to know more about you, because she's interested, right? And if a woman's asking about you and she's asking about your life, and she's not just sitting there talking about herself, it means that she's interested in you. But what you got to realize about people as well is that people are generally quite self-centered, and you can see why. Like, we perceive everything from our own world, right? From our own point of view. We can't help but be selfish as human beings. And we love to talk about ourselves. Human beings love to talk about themselves. So you can, I think there was a quote by Dale Carnegie, and it goes something like this. You can get a person more interested in you by asking about them in 2 minutes than talking about yourself for 2 months. So the idea about that is then ask, if you want someone to like you, get them to talk about things about themselves, about things that they like talking about. Okay, but if you sit there and just talk about yourself and you never ask or inquire about the other person, then that person's not going to really like you as much as if they're not going to like you. It's going to take longer for them to like you if you're just sitting there talking about yourself. And that works for everything, right? That works for if you're trying to make new friends, when you're trying to make like peaceful relationships with your colleagues, things like that. So you want to have this air of sort of like mystery about you. And another way that you can build mystery is when you are arranging dates with a woman. Don't always be available on the same day. So let's say your first date was actually on a Saturday, and then a few days go by and you ask her out again. You're like, hey, when are you free? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm free I'm pretty much free all this week, and I'm free on the weekend as well. You're like, oh great, well I'm free on Tuesday evening. That's the only day I've got this week. How about we meet then, and I'll come pick you up, or we'll meet here, or we'll meet at this place at this time. And what that shows is like, oh, well, you were available on the weekend when we first met, and now you're not available on the weekend? What's going on? Are you going out on another date that weekend? Why are you only free on Tuesday? What are you getting up to over the weekend? That's what she's going to be thinking, okay? So it creates that mystery. Now, you might not have anything to do on the weekend, but it doesn't matter. It just means that you're just sort of spreading things out. You're being different, you're being spontaneous, you're being mysterious. And you can easily just do that. And it will make her more interested in you and wonder more about you, okay? She may even ask, she might be like, what are you doing? Oh, how come you're not free on the weekend? She may even ask that to you when you're on a date, and then you can obviously say something like, oh, I've just got overtime to do, or you may say, oh, I'm just going to go and see some friends. It's going and see some friends probably adds a little bit more mystery than work. So I'd recommend that you go with the latter option of saying that you were with friends, because that will make her think, well, were these friends women, or were these your guy friends? Right? And again, if she's asking questions about what you're doing, then that shows interest, right? She's interested. She wants to know that if you're seeing other women, right? But she might not. She might just let it go, but she might still wonder about it. So another way that you can create tension, especially in the sort of like the bedroom, is you need to go slower than what she wants to go, okay? So what this means is that, and you have to go a hell of a lot slower than what you want to go, okay? So this just means like lots of foreplay. It just means lots of like building the anticipation, not getting straight into bed, and going straight for, genitals and whatever, right? You want to go slower, so much slower, really drag it out, which I know will be like extremely painful, but because especially if you find her really attractive, of course you're going to want to sleep with her like straight away. You're going to want to sleep with her like as soon as you like get into your place or her place. But try and stretch it out. Try and stretch it out for as long as possible before that actually starts happening. And it's the same with sort of like dates as well, like how you're dating her too. You want to go slower than what she wants to go. So that's why you only see her once a week. And you keep on doing that until she actually starts reaching out to you more and talking to you more. Because it might be at the beginning, you might not need to initiate everything. You might need to initiate the conversation so you can ask her out on a date. And you may have to do that a couple of times before she starts to feel comfortable enough for her to start reaching out to you and start talking to you. Now, that's not all the time, though, because you will meet women who will be instantly initiating the conversation with you. And they might be very forward, they might be very extroverted and very bold in that way, which is great because that saves even more time for you. But you will encounter women who may be a little bit on the fence, right? So women who are unsure about how they feel about you, and that works really well with them. That's why this video will work really well with them, and also with women that are shy, because women that are shy are also quite reserved, and it takes a while for them to warm up to you, and it takes a while for them to let their guard down to feel more comfortable. Because when you're dealing with a woman that's shy, basically what's going on is she's so worried about saying the wrong thing, she's so worried about coming across the wrong way, that it will take a while for her to just sort of relax and start wanting to sort of like reach out to you, because she's probably still wondering, oh my god, I don't even know if he likes me, right, sort of thing, even though you're asking her out on dates. So it could be that because this video works really well with women that are on the fence or they're really shy. But if you're meeting a woman who's really bold and she asks you out, she's really forward, then that's great, right? But this video is great for those guys out there that are wanting to know how to build tension and anticipation so a woman chases you. So I hope that it's helped you. You can learn more tips in my book, Attracting the Beautiful Woman of Your Dreams. You can read it for free on my website, or you can get a physical copy on Amazon or the Kindle version on Amazon. But you can read it for free on my website. So please go to www.christineloveridge.com if you'd like to get coaching with me, or if you'd like to read the book. So thank you so much for watching, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.